Namaste dear children, how are you all? I am Rekha. Welcome to my channel Rekha's Knowledge Hub. Today we will see NCERT Class 4 Maths, Chapter 1 Shapes Around Us, Part 3. When lines meet, Isha made different corners with the straws. We can say that the two straws are like two lines that meet at a point. See this picture. The two straws, they are like two lines that meet at a point. When you put the ends of these two straws together, so they touch, they look like two lines meeting at a point. When two lines meet, they create an angle. This is important. When two lines meet, they create an angle. See this picture? See, these two lines create an angle here. See, the next picture, you can see an angle here. See, this is an angle. So, when two lines meet, they create an angle. See, this is another angle. We see many angles in yoga postures. See these pictures? Here you can see one angle. Then here you can see another angle. See the third picture. One angle is here. Another angle is here. Then you can see an angle here. Then you can see an angle here in this last picture. There are 7 angles in this house drawing. See this house drawing. How many angles are there? There are 7 angles. When two lines meet at a point, an angle is formed. See here, first angle. Then here, see these two lines meet at a point here. There, you can see another angle. This is 2. Then here you can see another angle 3. See. Then next angle you can see here 4, angle 4. Then here it is angle 5. Then here it is angle 6. Then here it is angle 7. So when two lines meet at a point, an angle is created. So in this drawing there are 7 angles. How many angles are there in this board drawing? See, you can see an angle here. You consider this line and this line. You can see an angle here. When you consider the middle line and this line, you can see an angle here. So, angle 1, angle 2, then likewise here, angle 3, then angle 4, then here there is an angle, angle 5, then angle 6, then here 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. So how many angles are there? 10 angles are there in this board drawing. Let us mark the angles in the following pictures. First one, see, here you can see an angle here. Then here you can see another angle. Here you can mark an angle. Here you can mark an angle. Then next one B. Here there is one angle. Then second angle here. Third angle here. Then in picture C, here there is one angle. See, there is one angle here. Then in picture 4, see, one angle is here, another angle is here. This is also an angle. This is a straight angle. Okay. Then in the last figure, see, here there is one angle. Then another angle here. Then here there is one angle. Children, you can mark all other angles. Okay. Where do you see angles in the classroom? Give a few examples. First one, corners of the room. See this picture? Here you can see an angle. Then doors and windows. You can see many angles here. See here, here, then here. Here there is one angle. Then the windows also you can mark angles. Okay. Then next you can see angles in textbooks and notebooks. See, this is an angle. This is another angle. So you can mark angles. Then chairs. In this chair you can mark several angles. Here there is one angle. Here is another angle. Here is one angle. Here is another angle. So you can mark many angles. Let us make a right angle with a piece of paper as shown. You take a piece of paper like this. See, in this picture you can see a horizontal straight line and a vertical straight line here. See, here you can see an angle here. This angle is a right angle. It is 90 degree. This is a right angle. So you can make a right angle with this piece of paper. You fold the paper along the horizontal line. See, you fold like this. Once more you fold like this. When you open, you can see these lines, these creases. Okay. Then here you can see a right angle. Here is another right angle. Here also you can see a right angle. Here also you can see a right angle. Identify the angles that you think are right angles and circle them in the dot grid given below. Check using your right angle checker. See, a right angle is an L-shaped angle. Capital L-shaped angle. So, if you place an L shape over these figures, you can check whether these angles are right angles or not. See the first one, is it a right angle? No, this is not a right angle. See, if this line is here, then this will become a right angle. Okay. Next one, it is a right angle. It is an L-shaped angle. Next one is also a right angle. See the next figure. Is it a right angle? No. If this line is like this, then this will form a right angle. The next one is a right angle. Then this is not a right angle. Okay. Then this is also not a right angle. Next one. The last one is a right angle. It is an L-shaped angle. Check for right angles in a book, window, and any other object. Write the names of objects where you find right angles. See, corners of a book. You can find right angles here. See, the corners of a book. This is a right angle. See, you consider these two lines. Then, this is a right angle. This is an L-shaped angle. Then, corners of a window frame. See, here also you can see right angles, L-shaped angles. Here you can see right angle. Here you can see another right angle. Here you can see another one. Okay. Then the corners of the tabletop or desk. See here you can see a right angle. Here there is another right angle. These angles are L-shaped. You can check. See, tabletop. Okay. In all these things you can see right angles. Draw some right angles on the dot grid. See, you can draw some right angles, some L-shaped angles like this. See, if you want to check, you can place an L shape over these angles. Okay. Acute and obtuse angles. Acute angles are less than a right angle. See, right angles are L-shaped angles. They form 90 degree. So, acute angles are less than a right angle. See this figure. See, this angle is an acute angle. This is less than a right angle. If you draw a line through this dotted line, then we will get a right angle. See, this angle is a right angle. But this red one, this is an acute angle. Next one, obtuse angles. Obtuse angles are more than a right angle. See this figure. See, this angle is more than a right angle. This is an obtuse angle. See, if you draw a line through this dotted line, these two lines form a right angle here. So, obtuse angles are more than a right angle. Name some objects from your classroom which have an acute angle. See, hands of a clock at 2 o'clock. See this figure. Here, hands form an acute angle. See, this angle is less than a right angle. Then, slightly opened pair of scissors. See, here you can see an acute angle. Then, slightly open book. Here also you can see an acute angle. This angle is less than 90 degree. The next one, name some objects from your classroom which have an obtuse angle. The hands of a clock at 4 o'clock. See this figure. These two hands form an obtuse angle. See, if this hand are marked like this, that is at 3 o'clock, the angle will be right angle. But at 4 o'clock, the clock forms an obtuse angle. Then a book opened almost flat. See, this is an obtuse angle. This is more than 90 degree, or this is more than a right angle. So it is an obtuse angle. Identify all angles in the following letters. See first one. See, here you can see an angle. This is an acute angle. Then in this figure you can see an angle here. See. Then this is an obtuse angle. Here also you can see an obtuse angle. Then see here, you can see another three angles. These angles are acute angles. Okay. The next letter, here you can see an acute angle. Here also you can see an acute angle. Let us do. Draw some acute angles on the top grid. See, in this top grid, you can draw some acute angles. You can draw your own angles. Okay. See, this is an acute angle. This is less than a right angle. This is another acute angle. This is less than a right angle. This is another angle. This is also an acute angle. This is less than a right angle. Draw a line to make an acute angle using each given line in the bottom grid. See this bottom grid, here two lines are given. You have to make acute angles using these lines. See, you have to create two acute angles. See, for first angle, one line is given. You have to draw the next line. See, you can draw like this. This is an acute angle. This is less than a right angle. Then you can draw one more acute angle. See, one line is given. You can draw second line like this. So, this also forms an acute angle. Next one, draw some obtuse angles on the top grid. See, obtuse angles are more than 90 degree. They are more than right angles. See, this is an obtuse angle. This is more than a right angle. This is another obtuse angle. This is also more than 90 degree or more than a right angle. This is another obtuse angle. This is more than a right angle. Then draw a line to make an obtuse angle using each given line in the bottom grid. Then see this bottom grid. Here two lines are given. You have to make two obtuse angles using these two lines. See, using the first line, we can make an obtuse angle like this. See, draw one more line like this. So, this forms an obtuse angle. Then, you can create one more obtuse angle. One line is given. So, you can draw like this. So, this is another obtuse angle. You can create your own obtuse angles. In the figures given below, mark the acute angles in red, right angles in green, and obtuse angles in blue. See these pictures, you have to mark acute angles, right angles, and obtuse angles. Acute angles should be marked in red, then right angles in green, and obtuse angles in blue. See, this is an acute angle. So, mark this angle using red color. See, this is another acute angle. See, this is an acute angle. This is an acute angle. This is another acute angle. This is also an acute angle. This is an acute angle. Then, this one is an acute angle. This one is an acute angle. So, these are acute angles. These angles are less than right angle. Then you can draw right angles in green. See, this is a right angle. Then next one, this angle is also a right angle. Then any other right angles? See, here you have one right angle. Here is another right angle. Then, see, if you combine two angles, you can form right angles like this. See this picture. This is also a right angle. Then, yeah, one more right angle is here. See, this is another right angle. Then you mark obtuse angles in blue. See, this is an obtuse angle. Obtuse angle is more than a right angle. Then this is another obtuse angle. Then this is an obtuse angle. This is another obtuse angle. Then see, you can see another obtuse angle here. See, this one is another obtuse angle. You can see one more obtuse angle here. So you can mark all angles. Shapes with the straws. Make a triangle with the straws of different sizes and clay or plasticine. So you can make a triangle using some straws and clay or plasticine. A triangle has three sides. Does the shape of the triangle change if we gently push one of its sides? If we gently push one of its sides, see, this is a triangle. If you push gently on one of its sides, does the shape of the triangle change? Yes or no? No. Why? A triangle is a rigid shape. If you push on one of its sides, the angles and side length will remain fixed, meaning its overall shape will not change. So, if we gently push one of its sides, the shape of the triangle does not change. You have to push gently. If you apply more force, then the straws will break. Then, trace the triangles you made with the straws in your notebook. What kinds of angle does a triangle have? See the first figure. In this first figure, you can see three angles here. See, these three angles are acute angles. See the next figure. See, here you can see a right angle. The other two angles are acute angles. They are less than a right angle. See the third figure. See here you can see an obtuse angle. This obtuse angle is more than a right angle. And the other two angles are acute angles. So, what kinds of angles does a triangle have? A triangle can have acute angles, can have a right angle, can have obtuse angle. Make a rectangular shape with straws and clay. See, using straws and clay, you can make a rectangular shape like this. What kinds of angles do you see in the rectangle? See, you can have a right angle here. You can have another right angle here. Then there is another right angle here. And here also you have one right angle. So, what kinds of angles do you see in the rectangle? right angles. All angles are right angles. Does the shape of the rectangle change if we push gently one of its sides? If we gently push one of its sides, the shape of the rectangle will change. So, yes, the shape will change. See this figure? This is a rectangle. When you gently push one of its sides, what happened? This changes to a parallelogram. So, when you push gently on its sides, what happened? The shape changes to this one. What has happened to the angles of the new shape? Are they still right angles? What type of angles have been formed? See, when you push gently on one of its sides, the rectangle changes to this shape. This shape is a parallelogram. So, are they still right angles? The angles of the new shape are still right angles? No, they are no longer right angles. See this picture, you can see these two angles are acute angles. And these two angles are obtuse angles. See, these two angles are obtuse angles. Okay. So, you will now have two acute angles and two obtuse angles. Acute angles are less than 90 degree. They are less than right angles. Obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees. They are greater than right angle. So, opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal. Opposite angles are equal. See, these two angles, they are acute angles, and these two angles, they are obtuse angles. Similarly, push one side of a square. Are they still right angles? What type of angles have been formed? See this square. When you push gently on one of its sides, the square will changes to this shape. What about the angles? Are they still right angles? No, they are no longer right angles. What type of angles have been formed? Similar to the rectangle, you will get two acute angles and two obtuse angles. See, these two angles are acute angles and these two angles are obtuse angles. How are the angles of triangles and rectangle similar or different? See, these angles are different. Why? The only similarity is that they have angles. Both have angles. But what about their differences? What about the number of angles in a triangle? A triangle has three angles. Then what about a rectangle? Always has four angles. See, triangle has three angles, rectangle has four angles. Then what about the type of angle? A triangle can have right angle, obtuse angle and acute angles. Then what about rectangle? Only right angles. All four angles are right angles. Use the dot grid given below to draw several 3 and 4-sided shapes. So you can make some 3-sided and 4-sided shapes. This is a 3-sided shape. This is also a 3-sided shape. This is a 4-sided shape. This is a 4-sided shape. This is also a 4-sided shape. Then circle the shapes that have one or more right angles. You can circle the shapes that have one or more right angles. So, this has a right angle. See, here you can see a right angle. Then, this shape also contains right angles. See, you can see 4 right angles here. Then, next picture, this also contains right angles. See, this is one right angle, this is another right angle. The last one, this is a square. This also contains right angles. There are 4 right angles here. So, circle this. What shapes did you make? We made triangles, square, rectangle and some other shapes. How many shapes have you made with one right angle? One. See, here only one right angle. One. Only one right angle. Then, with the two right angles, here you can see two right angles. So, how many shapes? One shape. Then, three right angles, 0. Then, all right angles, two shapes. See, this rectangle and this square. All are right angles. Here are some four-sided shapes. In what ways are rectangle and square different from these shapes? See, in the case of rectangles and squares, the opposite sides are equal. Then what about the angles? All angles are right angles. Then what about these shapes? Opposite sides are not equal. See, this is shorter than this side. So, opposite sides are not equal. Then, what about angles? Angles are not right angles. Then, next difference, all angles are not right angles. In the case of squares and rectangles, all angles are right angles. But what about these shapes? See, these two angles are acute angles. These two angles are obtuse angles. So, all angles are not right angles. See the first picture, this is an obtuse angle, this is also an obtuse angle and these two are acute angles. And the last one, see this is an acute angle, this is an acute angle, then these two are obtuse angles. So all angles are not right angles. Children, thanks for watching. The links for other videos are given in the description box. Please go through it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. We will see you in the next video.